Welcome to our newspaper review segment this morning. Quite a number of issues on this workful day. We'll begin quickly with the Nation newspaper as we run across to look at the headlines on all the national dailies. Right here on the Nation newspaper, we see again the advert of the president going to the FCT to commission some projects. We wait to see, the beauty of what that would look like at the end of the day. And quickly to the Blueprint newspaper. Same thing again, but there's another very interesting headline right there. $5.12 billion Abacha loot. Let anyone prove my husband stole Nigeria's money. This is quoting Miriam Abacha, the wife of the late head of state. Okay, we'll talk about that as we delve into today's conversation. And quickly to the Tribune newspaper. Naira may stabilize around 1,600 and 1,650 in near term. This is according to experts. Sounds like some exciting thing about 1,600 Naira. Okay. We'll delve into that quickly in a few minutes. The News Direct headlines as we look at right there. Fuel subsidy removal. Federal government saves $84 billion. Funds 40 major road cuts debt. Well, sounds like a very wonderful thing right there. But the Punch is giving us something different this morning. And we'll say right there, defections, hurricane. Tinubu sweeps 12 more senators and reps. That was our focus yesterday. All right, the Daily Trust newspaper this morning. Flood, residents resist evacuation, seek help. Another conversation on that as well. Platform Times, as we look at the headlines right there this morning. I'm trying to look for the Platform Times. Okay, got it. Toji, notorious bandits, demands 50 million Naira farming tax from Zamfara. Niger communities. Terrorists are asking for tax on our farmlands. We'll talk about that in a jiffy. And quickly on this Nigeria, a conversation on food security. Federal government policy crashing market prices, says Minister, as we quickly look at The Guardian this morning. And we'll see right here, 24 years later, 43 new operators target telcos, underserved amid concerns. Indeed. And then finally, on the Sporting Life, if you all give me a few minutes to look at this morning. Okay, maybe we'll just move quickly to the first conversation, Veronica Etoma and Ria this morning, which is the Nation newspaper. The president is going back to the FCT to commission some project. This sounds like something, very exciting. Etoma, what do you think?
Yeah, Wike is trying to stamp his authority. Look, I have done so many projects, and I have said it here before. Wike is the kind of person that has to build. He just has to build. He's the kind of person where you go to his house today, you see something different. Tomorrow you see another thing. And as a minister or as a governor, as a governor, go back to Port Harcourt and ask what he did. He did so much. He did.
I was there. I saw it myself, and I spoke to him the day he handed over to.
So I know that in Abuja, as the minister of the FCT, he's going to do a whole lot of buildings, and we are going to commission quite a number of them by Mr. President.
And Veronica, talking about, some of these monies that we used to build the roads, Miriam Abacha is saying here that the acquisition of $5.12 billion, anybody should come prove her husband stole that kind of money.
And she's talking tough because
absolutely,
if you are the wife to the late Sani Abacha, of course, you would feel uneasy with all of the allegations. Any little thing, Abacha loot. And so a lot of persons even said that every other loot came under Abacha loot, as the case may be.
This is on the Blueprint newspaper, by the way.
And every other loot came under Abacha loot, as the case was, as we have seen in recent times. And a lot of people saying, did he love us so much that even when he died, he's still taking care of us as much as possible? But it is good to hear her speak, even though I did not like the words she used when she called Nigerians that word. I would not repeat the word she said. And she talked about the statement made by Ibrahim Babangida, the former military head of state, saying that it was her husband who nullified that election in June 1993. And she said, how powerful was her husband? Her husband was just the chief of defense staff at the time. And so how was he able to be powerful enough to ensure that he annulled that election? Let Nigerians think. So we can only wish that the dead could speak. But unfortunately, the dead cannot speak and allegations are just being made. I was at a forum somewhere over the weekend, I think, and I was saying that that statement made by the former military president was not an apology because he passed the buck to the late Sani Abacha as it is, and now his wife has come to corroborate that. It's unfortunate, and we can only hope that the family of the former president, as he is now called, that's why we're having June 12th, will still gain closure whichever way at the end of the day. But Nigerians need to begin to sit and think and reflect on how these persons have led us over the years and where we need to do better.
And you know, just to add to what Veronica said, the dead cannot speak. So he was accused, he's dead, he cannot speak. The next person to speak is his wife. Also, like, I do not really agree with some of the terms she used, but I could see that she was talking from so much pain. Because a lot of people have been speaking about it. And even if you read the comments on social media, people are still saying that, where did he keep the money? People are still bashing her even with the comments that she made. So you can understand that she's talking from a place of pain.
It's really sad,
Actually,
really.
it must be said that that interview was held by a correspondent, the bureau chief, deputy bureau chief in Abuja.
And by the way, we're having her today on Politics Tonight.
All right.
She's coming, so
the conversation continues.
Absolutely. And Ria, let me take you quickly to the Tribune newspaper. The conversation about the dollar naira, 1,600 and 1,650. Man.
Should we jubilate or we should cry? Which one?
I'm just wondering, really. You know, experts are saying that's where it's going to be. I was thinking they would say 500.
How? Do you want to be a thief?
There are some stories that shouldn't make the headlines. You know, there are some stories, and this one is one of them. There's nothing to celebrate when we are saying it's 1,500 or 1,006. That's where it's going to stabilize. So were we thinking that the dollar would have gone, the naira would have gone like 2,500, and then one magic happened, and now it's going to stay at 1,005.
And I told me if I would take you to politics, this would be Nigerian News Direct newspaper now. Obi has no alternative agenda, just power hungry. This is the presidency responding, you know, to some of the things that are going on. Is that really true?
Whether it's true or not is relative. It depends on where you stand. You know, if you are in the presidency, that is your truth. If you are not in the presidency, that may not be your truth. You know, but I believe with all the hula baloo in the PDP, you know, Obi has found his voice as the opposition leader, and he's doing what he should do.
Yeah, is he really
I definitely want to add on that.
Identified as an opposition leader?
Well, if his party, let me begin with his party, are really playing the opposition, I was hoping that those at the National Assembly will be speaking and talking tough when we talk about certain policies and certain moves by the government that they all agree to. They would have some person saying, no, this does not reflect the interests of Nigerians, rejecting vehicles, rejecting certain money, saying, oh, the money you people are paying us is too much. We want you to cut down on the cost of governance. Allow me now, Nelson. We want you to cut down on the cost of governance. Then I would say the party is moving in the opposition and giving us the alternative that we really want
But
to
I absolutely
see.
agree with you on this.
I'm saying the truth, because I would have wanted to see people from the Labour Party who are supporters of Peter Obi actually acting as an opposition, not just Peter Obi himself. Because, hang on please, because it is about the party and not an individual.
Absolutely.
So they should come together and say, you know what, we as a party, we are saying this is what we stand for, this is the alternative we are bringing to the table. If you say the current administration went about the things they were doing haphazardly, what are the options you have brought to the table? I would like to see it. I would like to hear it. I would like to see your people push it at the National Assembly so that we can feel the
And Ria, I
impact.
think very speaking to
not
ideology,
yeah,
there's no difference here.
It's not a one-man thing, it's a collective thing. And I watched that interview closely. You know, I think I watched that interview about 2 or 3 times. And he made statements by saying that, you know, it was in his manifesto, he would have removed the fuel subsidy. And then he went back to say that, you know, he will have done it in a different manner. At the end of the day, it's opposition. And when presidency replied to him, I'm like, they didn't even need to reply to him. They'll always say they'll do it better. I tell you, when you're not in power and you are talking from a you feel like your ideas are the best.
Oh boy.
But still talking about it, it's not about only him. It's to be a collective effort and not just him. And it's seeming like it's just Peter B of
Somebody
the,
has to
you know,
the
Labour Party.
He's the first one that's talking from the party.
It's not about
Maybe as time goes on. Maybe as time. No, it's not
a
about him. Maybe as
collective-
time goes on.
Maybe we should move this to the Punch newspaper, and as we see hurricane, you know, defections of 12 more senators and some members from the House of Reps. Ria, this is still ongoing.
It's still ongoing. And we're going to see a whole lot more. We're definitely going to see a whole, you know, lot more of this. We've been saying it. They said Nigeria is going to be a one-party system. Fingers crossed. But at the end of the day, like we're saying, opposition, what are they really doing?
Well,
you know, at the end of the day, we're almost getting to 2027. What is happening? If everybody moves to APC, are we just going to go and vote APC on that day? So I think opposition needs to really do better. And these politicians that are leaving, are they leaving because of the people, or they're leaving because of political safety, or they're leaving because of themselves?
I guess it's safety. I guess it's safety.
Well,
But Etoma, let me take you to the Daily Trust newspaper. We see a conversation here on flood. You know, residents are asking for help. Sad one, really.
Yes.
A sad one. But I thought by now all the affected persons should have gotten what is due them, if I was to use the word due them.
Yes, if you want to talk about the flood in Mokwa,
Yeah.
finally the Niger State governor came up, and he came up shooting very strong bullets, you understand. 2 trucks of all sorts of grains, some serious billions for this. We're going to construct this, we're going to construct that. And he says the whole action starts today. You know, that's for Mokwa. Now, the one that interests me is that after Mokwa, they have sent warnings that we're going to have flood here, so please evacuate. And the people are saying, no, we are not going to evacuate. So what help are they looking for?
So I think that is because did they give them a place to evacuate to? That is what we need to talk about.
The issue here,
Please.
we need to put this story in context.
Yes.
The issue here is that the residents are resisting
Evacuation.
but are seeking help. Now, beyond Mokwa, there are other areas that have been set to be prone to flooding. Bayelsa, Yenagoa, and some other areas are prone to flooding. And these people, because they have witnessed it before, decided to build their homes in such a way, or build some things in their home to resist the flood from affecting and destroying their properties. But they do not want to move because it's their ancestral land. So all they want is help. We will stay where we are. But hang on, please.
Yeah.
We will stay where we are, but we will not move. That is, it beats my imagination. Because when the flood comes, it will destroy whatever it wants to destroy. The last time we saw flooding in Bayelsa, for instance, it
was the
submerged the home. So whatever thing you have raised inside your home can still be submerged. What they are saying is move, but they say no, we don't want to move.
I tell you,
isn't this a mindset that needs to be checked?
It is
when
a mindset.
we talk about mindset and educating these people in the rural areas, it's something that we should really, really work on. Because I don't understand how you say it's your ancestral home, so you die in your ancestral home. I don't get it. If you're asked to move because a disaster is coming,
it's an African man thing, you know.
There should be no reason for you to resist that. Then when it happens, everybody's like, oh, look up. But when they are like measures to be taken to make sure it doesn't happen, I think we need to reform our minds as well.
And quickly, ladies and gentlemen, the Platform Times right here, another very sad story. Notorious bandit demanding 50 million naira as taxes from farmers in Zamfara and Niger communities. The nerve.
What an insult.
Impunity.
You understand? That was my reaction when I saw that. I said, what an insult. You know, and he has his face on paper. We know his name. You know, I'm sure, I believe security operatives know where they can find him. And he's there announcing tax of 50 million. Oh, boy.
You know, Vera would have asked you, because I like bringing some of these very tough questions to you. Why hasn't he been caught?
Move.
Move on. My question is, do they really know where he is?
Move on.
I said I believe.
They know where he is. I don't think there's a reason why he should.
Oh, yes,
Let me believe that they don't know where he is.
No,
because Bello has
do.
been so notorious. Like, he's not hidden from anybody. You can see that he's fearless.
But let's go to the Guardian newspaper. 24 years later, 43 new operators target telcos and underserved amid concerns. You know, I think the government, one way or the other, are trying to do everything they can to ensure that we have enough communication abilities. But 24 years later, you know, 42 new operators.
It's not happening. Up to now, 31 states are still suffering from poor network. But now the reason is that, why is this happening? I was reading about it, and it's saying that they are not coming together because they're thinking about profits. Who will share what profit? If the big telcos come together, like, I don't want to mention the telco's name, but like, how would they share profits? And it's so sad to see that we are still struggling from poor network in the rural areas. And that's why sometimes we say it's beyond us. You know, we need to think about the people at the end of the day.
And Veronica, you know, this Nigeria is talking about food security, the federal government policy, crashing market prices. This is according to the minister. When last did you go to the market?
We were in the market over the weekend, and I'm not seeing the crash in price yet for some items. So it's still relative, whichever way we look at it. And then some of the issues why we'll still see an increase in price, to tie to the Bello Tuju story, where farmers have been forced to pay taxes, which has been on for the past 2 years. A lot of things need to be done, because when these farmers look at the tax they need to pay, it falls back on the consumer. So government is working on the one hand with regards to crashing the prices of foods and items, but we have security issues that need to be addressed as quickly as possible so that we can have some stability when it comes to food prices, food security, whatever it is we're looking to do in this aspect at the end of the day.
Well, you know, we're still looking for some of those, like she said, some things have not really gone down. But, you know, I don't know whether I'm just saying this because I'm a man.
No, you go to the market.
Men go to the market. I do.
As well.
Oh, absolutely. I cook as well.
I cook.
I see
But
some
you did
things.
not give me the example.
Oh yeah, because he made some and he didn't bring, you know, photos.
I knew that will come up one day.
I see some things, frankly, you know, I've got, for instance, 5 bowls of tomatoes used to be for a certain amount, but now it's for, you know, another amount, even though we want that to go, you know, much,
way down.
much,
But
much,
I think
much further.
some prices have gone down relatively, like she said, not all prices. But also taking you back to Zamfara, even the farmers in Zamfara, they've been complaining about food scarcity and food security, because with what is happening, how would they now be able to like put their crops out and make people get food back here?
I mean, one bandit is asking for 50 million, and it's on the pages of newspapers and so on.
All right, I think our time
I've
is
been
up.
trying to look for the Sporting Live newspaper here, but you know, which would have been the last paper this morning, and it's not coming up. But my apologies for that. That's where we can go on the newspaper segment this morning. But still to come on the TVC Breakfast, what will be the fate of 34 embassies and their countries as they risk closure due to unpaid ground rent in Abuja? Join us after the break for more.